I never imagined a single voicemail would completely transform my life. I was 32 years old, a software engineer with a stable career, when my father's message blindsided me. Christmas is OFF. Expect a call from my lawyer. No explanation, no discussion, just a cold declaration of war over the holidays. My response, a simple text, understood. Then I quietly removed my name from the $320,000 mortgage I had co-signed for my parents 5 years ago. Within 48 hours, my phone exploded, 67 missed calls, and their lawyer begging for answers. Before I explain how my simple financial decisions sent my family into complete chaos, let me know where you are watching from in the comments. And hit subscribe if you have ever had to set a difficult boundary with family. I grew up in a middle-class neighborhood in Cleveland, where my father Richard worked as a sales manager for a manufacturing company, and my mother Diane taught elementary school. From the outside, we appeared to be the picture-perfect American family, but behind closed doors, money was always a control mechanism. My earliest memory of this dynamic was my 10th birthday, when my father promised to buy me a bike, then withheld it for weeks, because I had gotten a B on a math test instead of an A. Winners get rewards, Frank, he said. Mediocrity gets nothing. This pattern continued throughout my childhood. Christmas gifts would mysteriously disappear after minor infractions. College fund contributions were constantly dangled as incentives for perfect grades. Even family vacations became conditional, with my father reminding us how much everything cost and how easily plans could change if we disappointed him. Despite these challenges, I excelled academically, earning a computer science scholarship to the University of Washington. This was my first taste of independence, though my father insisted on controlling my finances by depositing my allowance monthly rather than providing a lump sum for the semester. I worked part-time jobs to build my own savings, hiding this fact from my parents to avoid having my allowance reduced. After graduation, I secured a position at a growing tech company in Seattle. My starting salary was modest, but I budgeted carefully, determined to build financial independence. I shared an apartment with 2 roommates, drove a used car, and avoided debt. Each small step away from my parents' financial control felt like a victory. 5 years into my career, I received a frantic call from my mother. "The bank is threatening foreclosure," she sobbed. "Your father made some bad investments, and we are 3 months behind on the mortgage." The house in question was not the modest home I had grown up in. 2 years earlier, my parents had purchased a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom house in an exclusive neighborhood, complete with a pool and 3-car garage. This dream home had always seemed excessive to me, especially since it was just the 2 of them living there, after I moved out and my younger sister Grace went to college. "We need your help, Frank," my mother pleaded. "The bank says if we refinance with a cosigner who has excellent credit, they will work with us. Your father does not want to ask, but we have nowhere else to turn." I felt the familiar tug of family obligation warring with my hard-won independence. "Let me think about it," I said. Within hours, my father called. What began as awkward gratitude quickly morphed into his usual manipulative tactics. "This is what family does," he said firmly. "Besides, it is just a formality. Your name on the paper helps us get better terms, but we will make all the payments. You will never have to worry about it." After considerable hesitation, I agreed to meet with their loan officer. The refinancing was for $320,000, a sum that made me profoundly uncomfortable. The loan officer explained that, as a cosigner, I would be equally responsible for the debt if my parents failed to pay. My father dismissed my concerns with a wave of his hand. "We are not asking you for money, Frank, just your signature. The house is worth at least $500,000. There is zero risk." Against my better judgment, I signed the papers. My father patted me on the back as we left the bank, the first physical affection he had shown me in years. "Now you are really part of this family," he said, a statement that would come to haunt me. For the first 6 months, everything seemed fine. Then the requests began. First, they needed help with property taxes. Then it was an unexpected roof repair. Each time the same refrain: "We will pay you back next month." Those repayments never materialized. Meanwhile, my sister Grace had graduated with a teaching degree, but struggled to find full-time work. My parents invited her to move back home, where she fell into a comfortable dependency. Unlike me, Grace never challenged our father's authority. She drove a car he bought her, lived rent-free, and received a monthly stipend for helping around the house. When I would visit, the contrast in how we were treated was stark. Grace was the favored child who understood family loyalty. I was increasingly viewed with suspicion, especially when I questioned financial decisions or declined to contribute to their ever-growing list of expenses. 3 years ago, I met Melissa, a brilliant software developer who helped me recognize the unhealthy patterns in my family relationships. With her encouragement, I started seeing a therapist who specialized in family dynamics. Dr. Carter helped me understand that what I had experienced was financial manipulation and emotional abuse. Your father uses money to control the family narrative, she explained. By making you financially responsible for their house, he created a powerful tool to maintain his authority over you. This Thanksgiving, everything came to a head when I brought Melissa to my parents' home. My father had always made dismissive comments about her career focus and independent nature, but this time he crossed a line. Women like that make terrible wives, he said loudly over dinner. Too opinionated. Too career-obsessed. Is that really what you want, Frank? For the first time, I directly challenged him. I want someone who respects me and treats me as an equal. Something you have never understood. The table fell silent. My father's face darkened with rage. As long as you are under my roof. This is not your roof alone, I interrupted. My name is on the mortgage too, remember. We left immediately after dinner with my mother's tearful pleas and my sister's accusing glares following us out the door. On the drive back to Seattle, Melissa held my hand as I shook with a mixture of anger and liberation. You stood up for yourself, she said softly. That was incredibly brave. What I did not realize then was that this confrontation would set in motion a chain of events that would force me to choose between financial security and toxic family ties once and for all. The first week of December was filled with cautious optimism. Despite the Thanksgiving disaster, I purchased Christmas gifts for my family, including my parents, and requested time off work for the holidays. Melissa and I planned to split our time between both families, starting with Christmas Eve at my parents' house. On December 10th, my sister Grace sent a warning text. Dad is on the warpath. Tread carefully. This vague message concerned me enough to check the mortgage account online, something I had set up access to, but rarely monitored. What I discovered sent my stomach plummeting. My parents were 3 months behind on payments again. The bank had sent multiple warning notices. I called my father, attempting to have a mature conversation. I saw the mortgage statements. I began carefully. Is everything okay financially? Everything is fine, he snapped. The bank made an error. I am disputing the payments. Dad, this is serious. My credit score is on the line too. Can we discuss getting caught up before Christmas? Are you questioning me? His voice rose sharply. After everything I have done for you, this is my house, and I will handle it my way. It is our house legally, I reminded him, and I am concerned about the consequences if these payments are not resolved. He hung up. 20 minutes later, my phone buzzed with a voicemail notification. His voice was cold and controlled, each word precisely aimed. Christmas is oaf. Do not come to my house. Expect a call from my lawyer. You ungrateful, disloyal son. The familiar wave of anxiety, his anger had always triggered in me, began to rise, but something different followed it this time. A strange calm settled over me as I realized I was done being manipulated. I texted back a single word, understood. Then I called my financial advisor, Jacob, who had been helping me build independence from my family's financial control. This mortgage situation has become untenable, I explained. What are my options? Jacob researched the terms of the loan agreement and discovered something crucial. Since the loan is not currently in default status with the credit bureaus, you have grounds to petition for removal as a cosigner. The bank will need to evaluate if the primary borrowers can qualify on their own, which given their payment history is unlikely. If they cannot qualify, they would need to refinance without you, or potentially sell the property. "What is the process?" I asked. "You will need to submit a formal removal request in writing. The bank will notify all parties, and there will be a review period. It is not immediate, but if you act before the loan goes into formal default, you have a better chance." I spent that night weighing my options carefully. Remaining on the mortgage meant continuing to be financially vulnerable to my parents' irresponsibility. Removing myself would cause a family rupture that might never heal. But as Dr. Carter had helped me understand, maintaining toxic relationships out of obligation was not actually loyalty. It was self-destruction. The next morning, I submitted the formal request to be removed as a cosigner. I included documentation of the payment delinquencies and a statement explaining that I had not received any benefit from the property and had been added as a cosigner under the agreement that I would never be responsible for payments. That weekend, Melissa and I drove to a remote mountain cabin, a trip we had planned months ago. I informed my office I would be unreachable and turned off my phone, giving myself permission to process my emotions without interference. In the quiet of the snowy mountains, with Melissa's supportive presence, I grieved for the family relationship I had always wanted but never truly had. I mourned the conditional love that was extended only when I complied with my father's demands. And gradually, I began to feel the weight of decades of manipulation lifting from my shoulders. "I feel guilty," I confessed to Melissa as we sat by the fire. "But I also feel free. Those feelings can coexist," she said wisely. "You can love your family and still need to protect yourself from them." When Sunday evening arrived, we reluctantly packed up to return to Seattle. As cell service returned during our drive down the mountain, my phone began buzzing incessantly with notifications. 67 missed calls, 29 text messages, 15 voicemails, emails, social media messages. I pulled over to sort through the digital avalanche. The chronology told a story: initial anger from my father, confusion from my mother, accusations from Grace, then escalating panic as they received notice from the bank about my removal request. My father's first voicemail: "How dare you go behind my back? Call me immediately." My mother, 3 hours later: "Frank, please, your father is beside himself. What have you done, Grace, that evening? You are destroying this family. I cannot believe you would betray us like this." By the following morning, the tone had changed dramatically. My father: "Let us discuss this like adults. Call me back." My mother, sobbing: "The bank says we might lose the house. Please, Frank, we need you." And finally, most surprisingly, a call from Mark Stevens, my parents' lawyer, initially threatening legal action but ending with a request for a meeting. "This is a simple misunderstanding," he claimed. "I am sure we can resolve this without damaging your family relationships further." I listened to each message, feeling remarkably steady. When I had sorted through them all, I called the one person I knew would give me honest advice: Dr. Carter. "This is the predictable extinction burst of controlling behavior," she explained. "When a manipulator loses control, they cycle through every tactic that has worked in the past. Stay firm in your boundaries." Armed with this understanding, I returned just one call to Mark Stevens. Our conversation was brief but revealing. "Mr. Stevens, I respect your professional position, but this is not a misunderstanding. My parents are 3 months behind on a mortgage I co-signed, with the explicit agreement that I would never be responsible for payments. Your father explains the situation differently," he began, but I interrupted. "Did he also explain that they have taken 2 home equity loans against the property in the past year, or that they missed mortgage payments while buying my sister a new car?" His silence told me he had not been given the complete picture. "I have documentation of everything," I continued calmly, "including text from my father stating that my name on the mortgage was just a formality, and that I would never have to worry about it." By the end of our conversation, Stephen's tone had changed considerably. "I need to have another conversation with your parents," he said. "But off the record, Frank, I think you are making a prudent financial decision." The next day, my father showed up at my workplace, creating such a scene that security had to escort him out. My mother called Melissa, tearfully begging her to make Frank see reason. Aunts, uncles, and cousins sent messages ranging from concern to condemnation. Through it all, I maintained my position with a tranquility that surprised even me. When my father finally called with an offer to forgive me if I withdrew my removal request, I declined politely, but firmly. This is not about forgiveness, Dad. This is about establishing healthy financial boundaries. You will regret this, he threatened. Family is everything. Yes, I agreed. But family should support each other, not exploit each other. 3 days later, Mark Stevens called again. This time, his message was entirely different. After reviewing the financial situation more thoroughly, I have advised your parents that their options are limited. They cannot qualify for the mortgage without a cosigner, and given their credit history, finding another cosigner is unlikely. They will need to either sell the house voluntarily or face potential foreclosure. I am sorry it came to this, I said, genuinely saddened by the outcome despite my resolve. Frank Stevens said hesitantly as their lawyer, I should not be saying this, but as someone who has seen similar situations, you are doing the right thing. They have financially manipulated several other family members. You are just the first to stand firm. This revelation, while validating my decision, brought fresh pain. The scale of my parents' financial manipulation was greater than I had realized. As December progressed, my parents were forced to confront reality. The bank formally approved my removal from the mortgage contingent on either immediate payment of the delinquent amounts or sale of the property. Unable to catch up on payments, they reluctantly listed the house for sale. Christmas passed quietly. Melissa and I celebrated with friends, exchanging thoughtful gifts and enjoying a drama-free holiday for the first time in my adult life. Though the ache of family estrangement lingered, it was overshadowed by a growing sense of peace that comes from living authentically. By March, my life had transformed in ways both painful and liberating. Melissa and I moved in together, renting a comfortable apartment with a view of Puget Sound. Our relationship flourished, without the shadow of family drama hanging over us. We became engaged on a crisp February evening, planning a small wedding with only supportive friends and family. My parents sold their house in January, receiving less than they had hoped in the winter market, but enough to pay off the mortgage and outstanding loans. They downsized dramatically to a 2-bedroom condo, a financial adjustment that my father especially struggled to accept. The family fallout was significant, but not universal. Some relatives, particularly those who had also experienced my parents' financial manipulation, reached out with quiet support. Others, including several cousins I had been close to growing up, cut contact, entirely convinced by my father's narrative that I had abandoned the family in their time of need. Grace, surprisingly, was the first to breach the silence. She appeared at my door one Sunday afternoon in early March, looking uncomfortable but determined. I am still angry with you, she began bluntly, but I am beginning to understand why you did it. Over coffee, she revealed that since the house sale, our parents had increasingly turned to her for financial support. What started as small loans had quickly escalated to expectations that she would cover various bills and expenses. They expect me to give them half my paycheck, she admitted. Dad says it is my duty, since you abandoned them. I resisted the urge to say I told you so, instead offering practical advice about establishing financial boundaries. I shared resources from Dr. Carter and introduced her to my financial advisor, who had helped me untangle my finances from our parents. You can support them emotionally without being their bank account, I explained. It took me years to learn that difference. Grace left with a list of resources and a thoughtful expression that suggested the beginning of her own journey toward independence. We were not fully reconciled, but a door had opened. My professional life thrived as my personal confidence grew. Freed from the constant anxiety of my parents' financial irresponsibility affecting my credit, I took calculated risks that paid off. I led the development of a new product at work that earned me a promotion and substantial raise. Melissa and I began saving for a home of our own, one that would be purchased based on our needs and means, not status or appearance. In April, I had a chance encounter with my father at a local hardware store. He was thinner, the confident swagger diminished. He noticed me before I could exit undetected. Frank, he acknowledged coldly. Dad, I replied. How are you surviving? No thanks to you. I absorbed the barb without reacting. I am sorry things turned out this way. He snorted dismissively. Are you? You got what you wanted. What I wanted was a healthy relationship with my father, I said quietly. One not based on financial control or manipulation. He walked away without responding, but I noticed his shoulders slump slightly. The exchange was brief but significant. My calm response, a testament to my growth. Where once his disapproval would have devastated me now, I could see it for what it was, a tactic that had lost its power. 2 weeks later, I received a handwritten letter from my mother, the first direct communication since the house sale. Her words were cautious, but carried a hint of self-reflection I had never witnessed before. I have been thinking about patterns, she wrote. How we repeat what we know, even when it hurts those we love. Your grandfather controlled your father with money. Your father did the same to you. I enabled it. For that I am truly sorry. She did not ask for forgiveness or reconciliation, which made her acknowledgement feel more genuine. I responded with a brief, kind note of my own opening a door to possible future communication without expectations. As my healing progressed, I found myself drawn to help others in similar situations. I started anonymously sharing my experience on financial forums, offering guidance to young adults entangled in family financial manipulation. The gratitude and relief in their responses reminded me how isolating such experiences can be, and how powerful simple validation can be. When December arrived again, Melissa and I hosted what we called our Family of Choice Christmas gathering friends and supportive relatives for a celebration based on genuine connection rather than obligation. My mother sent a card with a modest gift certificate, a small gesture that acknowledged the holiday without pressure. My father remained silent, but Grace joined us for dinner, bringing her new boyfriend, who she proudly told me had a healthy relationship with money. Looking back on the year since that fateful voicemail, I realized that removing my name from that mortgage had removed much more than a financial burden. It had freed me from a lifetime of conditional love and emotional manipulation. The process was painful, the losses real, but the authentic life I gained was worth every difficult moment. True family, I discovered, is not defined by blood or legal documents. It is built on mutual respect, healthy boundaries, and genuine care. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do both for yourself and others is to break unhealthy patterns, even when doing so causes temporary pain. Have you ever had to make a difficult decision to protect yourself from toxic family patterns? Share your experience in the comments below. Your story might help someone else find the courage to set necessary boundaries. If this journey resonated with you, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more stories about navigating complex family dynamics. And if you know someone struggling with family financial manipulation, share this video as a reminder that it is okay to prioritize your own well-being. Thank you for listening to my story. And remember, sometimes the most difficult boundaries lead to the most profound healing.